just because you're drafted number one overall, it really doesn't guarantee you anything. And we'll start with the two guys that I think are in the best position right now, and that is Jared Goff, who was the number one overall pick in 2016 by the Rams, and then Baker Mayfield, who was the number one overall pick in 2018 by the Cleveland Browns. We know that Jared Goff is now a member of the Detroit Lions, traded for another number one overall pick, Matthew Stafford, and Baker Mayfield, now the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Goff didn't have a great week 2, Baker didn't have a great week 3, but I think we can all agree that those guys are in really good positions. I don't think there's any question about that. Two other guys, unfortunately, aren't starting right now, and that's the number one overall pick from 2015, Jameis Winston, who is now with the Cleveland Browns, and the 2023 number one overall pick, Bryce Young, who is still with the team that drafted him, the Carolina Panthers. And we know about Jameis Winston and everything that's happened in his career, drafted number one overall by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and going to the New Orleans Saints and now in Cleveland. After watching Deshaun Watson up there, it's probably a matter of time before Jameis gets a crack under center. Uh, as far as Bryce Young goes, after just 2 weeks of the 2024 season, he's out. Andy Dalton is in, and Dalton comes in and leads the Carolina Panthers to their first win of the season. What does the future hold for those guys? I think there's probably more questions than answers. I'm not going to include a guy like Caleb Williams. There's still the jury's still out, obviously, but I think it's very ironic that just after a few games with the Chicago Bears, there's people wondering if they should have held on to another one of their first round picks, not number one overall, but another one of their first round picks, Justin Fields, who has quarterbacked the Pittsburgh Steelers to a 3-0 record. Caleb Williams has had some good moments. He's had some bad moments. I mean, it's just natural for a rookie quarterback. But at least, he's locked into that spot and he doesn't have to look over his shoulder like Bryce Young was this year. And then you look at the three remaining guys. Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, and Trevor Lawrence, all drafted number one overall. 2019 for Murray, 2020 Joe Burrow, 2021 Trevor Lawrence. And when you look at Kyler Murray, it's been an up and down ride for that kid in Arizona. I mean, they had to put something in his contract so that he would study more. That is never a good thing. And even though they had a phenomenal week 2 where they destroyed the Los Angeles Rams, and Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison had just a exquisite chemistry, I still think people are wondering if he's ever going to reach those lofty heights. Jury's still out on Kyler Murray. It really is. And then the last two guys, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. And it's kind of wild that they were both on Monday Night Football tonight. And now, after those games have completed, they are both quarterbacking 0-3 teams. We'll start with Trevor Lawrence. What has happened to that kid? He had everything in front of him. They win a playoff game. He's got Doug Peterson, who's a quarterback whisperer, led the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl over Tom Brady and the Patriots. But Trevor Lawrence has regressed big time. 21 of 38 tonight, 178 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, sacked 4 times. He does not look comfortable in the pocket. He does not look comfortable running the football. What happened to this kid? When it comes to Joe Burrow, hell of an effort against the Kansas City Chiefs last week. And listen, I thought he played decent ball tonight. 29 to 38, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think Joe played pretty damn well. But you have to start wondering what's going on with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. He's a hell of a player, but he's had some injury concerns. And you wonder, when they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, was that as close as they were going to get? So it's kind of interesting to look at all of these guys that were drafted number one overall. And when you see them, only 2 of them, Goff and Burrow, have ever been to a Super Bowl. Neither of them won. Just because you get that quarterback at number 1 doesn't necessarily mean he's going to lead you to a Super Bowl.